Hello everyone, welcome to the session today. And today's agenda is to make you familiar with set. Set is another data type, and we'll understand the real-time use cases of set and ideally what is the definition, how to create it, how to access all the items. Ideally, we do not call as actual elements. You can call as elements, or you can preferably call as items. Okay, and to define the set, we are going to use curly braces, and I'll just tell you the difference. If you are using curly braces for empty set, what is going to happen? We should not actually use that because it will be treating as dictionary, and I'll just let you know how to define that, how to access the element, how to add or remove the items from the set, then how do we traverse the set, and all these things. I'm just going to tell you in a few minutes. Then once you are actually done with the traversal, then agenda is actually go over the set methods and make you familiar various methods. There are close to 15 methods available in set, and we'll just go over each of these methods and then try to understand how it works. So, in a layman understanding, set is a collection, but that is not in order. When I'm talking about in order, let's say for example, we do have a list. One moment, we do have a list. Let's say I'm having a list one. List one is, let's say here 10, 20, 30. This is in order. Why? This zero index, the index one and index two. When I'm talking about a tuple one, that is also index. Let's say 11, 22, and 33. This is also ordered, and tuples are ideally enclosed by this one. Then I have told you about dictionary, that is dictionary 1. Again, Python 3.7 onwards, the dictionary key value pairs are actually in order. That means if you're adding, let's say, name is Subbu, and then I have here my, let's say, degree. I'm just giving here masters. Okay. So now here I'm just giving year as 2022. Okay. So now here the items are in order. If I'm going to update or add few more items, in this case it is going to be added at the end. So you can say it is going to be updated or appended at the end of this dictionary. That means it is in the order. The first key value pair is name and Subbu, then degree and masters is the second key value pair, then here the third key value pair is actually year and 2022. Now in case of set, it is a collection. It is a collection of values or collection of items, but that is not in order. How do we define it? Let's say in this case, I'm just going to tell you like S1, you can see in the dictionary, if you're familiar, then you can easily correlate and understand it here right now how the set is going to look like. Let's say for example, I'm just given 10, 20, and 30. Remember guys, set doesn't have any keys. Set doesn't have any keys. Let's say here in dictionary we do have keys and colon then followed by the value. But in case set, we have elements, we have items 10, 20, and 30. And in this case, as these are actually numbers, no need to quote it. If I'm having another set, let's say S2, and here I have all the names, that has to be quoted. For example, like this, I can say Subbu, Dinesh, and Mahi. Okay, so I have just specified here. So this is a set as well. Okay, Subbu, Dinesh, and Mahi. Remember, guys, set can contain all immutable items. That means string is immutable. Number is immutable, like in this case decimal, right? Floating point number is immutable. List is mutable. We cannot store list as an item in set. Tuple is immutable. We cannot change the tuple. Tuple we can actually have as an item inside, or like inside a set. Then dictionary is mutable. We cannot store a dictionary as an item inside set. Okay, this is all by theory. Let us practice it and understand what is mutable, what is immutable, why we cannot actually store it. So let us go by example. Okay, so now this is my first example on set. I'm just going to create one file using Python, sorry, PyCharm editor. You can create, or any other editor of your choice, you can do that. So now I'm just giving set creation, set creation. Now here we go. So set can be defined using curly braces. Set elements are actually separated using comma. Set elements are immutable, but set is mutable. That is the interesting fact. We can add, remove, delete elements from the set, but we cannot, we cannot have the mutable elements in the set. Okay, so now let me tell you what is the type. Now if I'm giving print, tell me the type of what, type of S1 in this case, and then I can actually put the type of S2, type of S2. I can specify this. Okay, so now if I'm running this program, here you can see name S1 is not defined, so it's a capital S1. Okay, so capital S1, and then we do have capital S2. Okay, so name error is not defined means there is some mismatch because variable names are case sensitive in Python. So now here, ideally in all the programming languages, most of the cases. Okay, so now here you can see if I'm running this program, here you can see it is a class set. So it says class set means it is set data type. Okay, so now if you want to print, let's say print h1, print h1, it is going to print all the elements. If you want to print h2, you can also do that, it is going to print all the elements. Guys, remember, in case of set, we do not have indexing. We cannot say s1 of 0. Let's say if I'm giving s1 of 0, this is not supported. You can see here there is no syntax error. While running it, you will definitely get syntax error. Okay, so now here you can see set objects are not subscriptable. That means we cannot use index on it. Okay, we should not use index. We cannot use keys. This is an interesting data type. Now, let me do one thing. Let me tell you something else. Let's say, for example, I've just given h2. I'm just using printing h2 three times. S2 three times. Now look at here the output. The output is here. It is saying Dinesh, Subbu and Mai, Dinesh, Subbu and Mai, and all these things it is going to give. Let's say if I'm putting another S1 over here, okay, let us see what is going to happen. Here you can see it is also giving a 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, and it is printing as is. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is, let's say I'm just adding an h2 dot update, h2 dot, one moment, it is capital h2 dot update. Here I'm just giving update of what. I'm just going to update the values. Let's say for example, I'm just going to update like this. Update is, here I'm just giving hello. Now I'm just going to print h2 again. Print h2 again. Now run the program and see what's happening here. It is saying Mahi, Subbu, Dinesh, and hello. Now if I'm going to add, you can see it here, hello is actually added over here. If I'm going to add another element or another string, let's say I'm just saying good. So now I'm just printing like now S2 here, S2 dot, sorry, print S2. If I'm executing this program, now look at here. Earlier you have seen it was actually my, Subbu and Dinesh. Now we have added hello to it. Hello was added at the last. But when I've actually started adding good, I have no control over it. I have no control over it. See, interesting fact. Now good is at the beginning, Subbu is the second element, hello is actually at the last, hello is actually added here, then my, then Dinesh. Without changing anything, just look at this order. It is like starting with good, ending with Dinesh. I'm just running the program again, and I don't know what it is going to do. It is saying hello is here, good is here, then it is Subbu. It's starting with hello, ending with Subbu. If I'm running the program again, like you can see it here, even I don't know what will be the output. It is Subbu and Dinesh. Guys, remember, that's the reason I'm telling there is no order. In case of list, index 0, 1, 2, I'm adding the next element. It will be like now appending the next element. It will be appended at the last. It is not going to change. It is permanent change. Similarly, in case of dictionary, you are actually adding another, updating like the dictionary or adding or appending another key value pair to the dictionary. It is again going to be added at the last. But Python 3.6 and below, the lower versions of Python, the dictionary is not ordered. This dictionary was actually working in this way, but Python 3.7 onwards, it is actually working like this. I'm using Python 3.10. Right now, Python 3.12 is also available. The beta version is available. Python 4 is actually going to be available sometime in October next year. Okay, I was actually going through the blog and then I saw it like Python 4 is also coming up. So now, if you are using any lower versions of Python, I'll recommend at least migrate it to like Python 3.10. So now here you can see this is to update. Now I'm just adding here. There's a new element. I'm just adding it here. I'm just saying, okay, let's say hello world, hello world. I'm just adding like hello world. Now printing like the h2 again here, and if you run the program here, you can see it is hello world. I don't know like where it is going to be added. We do not have any control over it. We do not have any control over it. You can say it is last but one item. If I run this program, it could be in the beginning, it could be at the last, it could be somewhere else. If you're familiar with like any kind of random questions, for example, that there is a quiz competition, or I can actually correlate it to KBC, right? So computer is actually asking questions. You have like set of values. You are asking computer, hey, just give me one like a question from the, for the list of set of questions are there, right? You want like the question, some question, let's say a random question out of it. What you can do is you can think about like a set. Whenever your requirement is you have bunch of values, you want the random value out of it, you can actually go for set. Let's say a lucky draw. I have like the employee IDs, bunch of employee IDs in the database, and then retrieve the bunch of employee IDs, then put it into the set, then trying to pop item or trying to pop item from the set and telling, give me something. Set is going to return you, let's say, pop. I'm just going to tell you, but for the time being, let us see, like when I'm giving like h2 dot pop. H2 is capital dot pub. If I'm giving like a pub, here you can see pub, we cannot specify any index. Here it's saying like a pub cell, that means we cannot specify anything. Remove and return an arbitrary set of element. Remove and return arbitrary set of elements. Let's say, for example, hello, hello world, good, Mahesh, Subbu, Dinesh is there. I don't know what it is going to return. Only in the runtime it will return something. If I'm running this program, let us look at the last value. It is saying like hello. If I run this program again, it could be something else. It is my. If I'm running the program again, it is like I'm not changing anything. It's just a pop. It is popping Subbu. Now you can ask me like how it is popping, what is the logic? I don't know. I don't know. Because it's a random order. So whenever our requirement is to deal with some randomized data, then set is the solution. That's the reason why we are actually learning set today. So that's all about like set. Another interesting thing I'm just going to tell you. Let us look at here. Let's say I'm having a set one s1 equals to you're thinking like you may be thinking like dictionary also using braces and as well as set, set elements are actually enclosed in braces, then S1 equals to two braces, like an open curly brace and closed curly brace. Then in this case, what will be the type of S1? Guys, remember, don't do this mistake if you are actually trying to define a set, that is empty set. If you want to actually define an empty set, don't use braces. You should not use braces because it will say like this is a dictionary. Let's say look at here. I'm assuming like this should be a set, but it's saying like in a class dictionary. Then the next question is how do I define a empty set using the set method or set function? You can specify print. Now tell me what is the type of S2? What is the type of S2? Now in this case, as it is returning for this one, it is returning like class dictionary. It should actually return type as actually set. It is saying class set. Interesting fact you need to understand, let's say if I'm giving like print S1, it is going to print braces. But if I'm specifying print S2, it is actually going to print as set. It is going to print as set. Set, then moon bracket. Okay, this is like set method. It will be returning this, the output of this print statement will be like set. The output of this statement will be two braces. Let us run this and then try to understand how it is working. Here you can see it is a class dictionary and it is like two curly braces. And here it is a class set. It is actually going to print set. So whenever your requirement is to have empty set, you can definitely use like empty set. Let me write another program and store it and set underscore empty. Okay. So now this is the example of set underscore empty. So far, what we understood, we can define the set. We can actually print the element, that is access the element, and we can randomly pick one element. We cannot actually tell, okay, from item number 0 till item number n, just give me in a sequence. Set cannot do that. If your requirement is in sequence, go for list, go for tuple. You can do that. If it is set, there is no concept of indexing, there is no concept of key. Random data, random elements are actually present in set. You can retrieve using the pop method. When you are actually adding a value to the set, even user doesn't have any control. I cannot specify add it at the beginning. I cannot specify add it at the end. I cannot specify add it at position number 2. There is nothing like that. You can add at random position or update it at update elements at random position. Then you can retrieve a random element. We can delete it. The interesting fact about set is set itself is mutable, but set elements are immutable. Now this is all theory what I'm actually talking about. Let us experience the error message. Okay, now when I'm giving like 10 20, then Subbu, it is going to work because this is a set. Okay, if I'm giving print s1, it is going to print as is, there is no issue. But if I'm specifying a list here 1, 2, 3, now let us see what is the message over here. It is saying type error, unmissable type list. This message means this item is mutable item. This is a mutable item, so that is the reason why it is not allowing. So now you can say, like if it is a tuple, what is going to happen? Tuple is immutable, then set should actually be happy and set should actually print as is. Definitely it should actually print as is because tuple is immutable. What if I have a dictionary like this? like one element name, I'm just having here like let's say Subbu, I have specified there. Here I'm just giving Subhasis. Now, while defining it, no error at all. Now, while retrieving it, let us see like now what we are going to get. Here it is also saying on haseable type dictionary. Like here you can see dictionary, we cannot actually store it as part of set. So in set, what we can actually store, let's say for example, I have like a non-data type. Can I store none? Answer is yes, we can. We can actually store none here, okay? Now, can I store a Boolean value? Boolean value is also not mutable, right? Boolean value is also not mutable. Now here you can see I have given 10, 20 Subbu true. It is printing true 10, 20 Subbu. Let's say I just given a false here, okay? So false also we can actually store. This is also immutable. Okay, now if I'm running this, here you can see it is printing like no false true Subbu 2010. Now I have mapping none here. I'm having none here. If I'm running this program, here it is printing like the false true Subbu 2010 none. So just look at here. I'm defining. Order is 10, 20 false none Subbu true. Output is false true Subbu 2010 none. So this is how the set works. Okay, so set cannot do the definition of set says set is mutable, but set elements are immutable. When I'm talking about set is mutable, we can add, remove, or like delete the elements from the set, but we cannot modify anything, and set doesn't have an index. So that's all about like set definition. The next thing is we are going to learn like whether set can contain similar data type or mixed data type. Here it is clear. It can contain similar data types like all integers, all string. We have gone through the example, or it can actually contain like list of elements. Let's say, for example, combination of elements. Some are numbers, some are actually boolean, some is special data type, string and tuple. We can actually have a number of items over there. Now the next thing we are going to learn right now is about like how do we traverse the set. Like if you are able to recollect in dictionary, we are having keys. We can actually traverse by keys. We can traverse by values. We can traverse by items. In list and tuple, we can use like positive index. We can use negative index. We can use a range. We can use length function. We can use while loop. We can use for loop to traverse. But in case of set, limitations. What are the limitations? We cannot use an index. We cannot use a key. Then how do we traverse? How do we traverse? There are only two options. Traverse using the set name itself, using a for loop. Let's say for I can say for item in set one, then print the items. Again, it will not be in the order. Let us like now write the program and try to understand how the traversal works in case of like a set. Now set traverse Python file. Here I'm just specifying, let's say country names. Country names are actually set. Here I'm just giving India, let's say Australia, New Zealand, and then I am having here France and UK, and then I have USA. So this is set. Now I can actually say for she name in Sheens or Shein or Sheens anything. Here I can say print like here I'm just giving a random destination. It will be a random destination. I don't know what will be the output here. Whether it is, let us see, like whether it is going to accurate India, Australia, New Zealand, France, UK, and USA. The answer is straight no. In which order it is going to process? I don't know. Now here you can see. It is saying random destination is actually France. It like system is suggesting go to France, then go to UK, India, Australia, New Zealand, and USA. Okay, if I'm running this program, and let us see, like where is USA this time? US is actually at the third position. It is France, New Zealand, US. Then the last one is actually Australia. Okay, so if I'm running this program again, just look at the first value. It is France. Last value is Australia. Let us say, like if I'm running this program again, what is the first value? It is saying like this time you go to UK, then go to the Australia at last. If I'm going to run this program again, here you can see it is saying go to USA first, then last is New Zealand. You cannot predict anything. So it is unpredictable. When I'm telling iterate, it is again not in the order. It is going to do the same thing, but it's not going to like execute in the order like from the last element to the first element or last item to the first item and first item to the last item. Ideally, we call it set items, not actually the elements. Okay, set items basically. So now this is how you can actually traverse using the for loop. Okay, so now if you want to traverse using while loop, we can also do that. Let's say the same set I'm just going to take, and I'll be just giving you one example. Here we go. Set traverse using while loop. Okay, so now look at here. So this is my set. I can say while set, that is Cn. We have used this method to traverse a list, traverse a dictionary, traverse a tuple, and then we can actually traverse a set as well in this case. While Cn print, I'm just giving like here I'm just giving Cn, and then I'm just giving end equals to, I can specify anything. I can also give like a random destination and all these things. So now here I can actually do this, but this will be an indefinite loop because we are not removing anything. If I run this program, the program is going to run indefinite times. Let me tell you like why indefinite times. Just look at the program, okay, how it is actually working. Let me stop it. Okay, it is like now France, US, New Zealand, UK, France, and all these things. It is actually going to work, and it is like printing the entire set as is. So this traversal is done. So how do we traverse it? We can traverse it like this. We can say pop one item. Okay, so cn dot pop. Then the question is it going to pop USA first, India first, Australia first, New Zealand first? We don't know. Some random item it is going to pick from the set. And as soon as the set is set, till the time the set is actually having some element, one element at least, this while loop is going to execute. Once all the pop is actually done, all the items are actually popped out from the set, then the loop is actually going to end. Now, if I'm running this program, let us see what it is going to do. It is printing like Australia, New Zealand, France, US, and France, UK, India, and USA. Look at here, it is Australia and USA. If I'm running this program again, here you can see it is New Zealand and USA. If I'm running this program again, it is like India and France. It will keep on changing. So you can traverse a set using a while loop. You can traverse a set using for loop too. Okay. Let's say, for example, you are actually going to build a logic for KBC program, and it is going to ask like now 20 random questions, and the 20 random questions it should be populated from the set. Okay, so now let's say in this case I want to pick two random countries. I want to send Deepak over there, like two random countries. Deepak is actually going for a project assignment. So now how I can actually do that? Let us see here. I have my requirement is actually two random countries, so I'll just see like let's say count equals to 0. Okay, so now here I'm just going to check like count. I hope you remember this augmentation operator, that is +1. We do not have a concept of like pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, post-decrement. In Python, we have augmentation, okay? So CNT plus 1, and then here I'm just saying if CNT, CNT equals to 3, then here I'm just saying like break. Two random countries it is going to pick. Now here I'm going to run the program. Here you can see it is printing. Okay, it is printing 3, so I can actually print. So it is 0. It should be 2. It should actually break, right? Now if I'm giving like my USA and France, the Deepak is actually lucky to go to US and France. Let's say this time I'm just going to run the program and see my luck, like where I'm going to. It is saying like I'll be going to Australia and France. And then if I'm running the program here, again, you can see US and New Zealand. If you want to run the program again, it is like again UK and France. So you can actually do n number of operations. Okay, n number of operations. Just giving like examples of like how do we traverse the set basically. So these are the two types of traversal which is available in set. As I told in the beginning, we do not have any kind of traversal using index or anything like that. So these are the traversals which are actually pretty much straightforward. Let's say if you want to actually have else and having like print, let's say I have something like this. Okay, print, we are done. Print or welcome to, that's it, welcome, and just giving like just welcome. Now run this program. Here you can see it is printing UK and France. This welcome is not going to be executed. Why? Because we are actually breaking it. It will never get executed. It will, hope you remember all these things. It will never get executed as we are using break. So the else will be executed only when the loop is successful. There is no interruption in between. Okay, like break, continue, and all. Break is not there. Then in that case, it is not going to execute the else statement. So that's all about traversal. Now I'm just going to tell you there are actual operations available. Let's say, for example, look at here. I'm having a 10, 20, and 30. If you remember, membership operator, just want to check if 10 in S1, it is actually going to return as true because 10 is present in S1. 10 is present in S1, it is printing true. I'm just asking, like, if 1 is present in S1, it is false because 1 is not the item. Like, we do not have any item which is 1 exactly. In this case, it is going to return false. Now, if I'm giving 1 not in S1, in this case, it is actually going to print as true. If I say like 10 not in S1, it is going to print as false because 10 is actually present, 10 is item in the set. So this is like a membership operation we can actually do. Now the next interesting question I'm just telling you here. In case of list, tuple, string, and we can use like repetition operator. Let us see if I'm using a repetition over here. I'm just saying like print h1 3 times. It is not going to work, guys. Don't try this. It is saying unsupported operand. Like unsupported operand means we cannot actually do a repetition operation on set. We cannot do that. Don't try this. Then the question will be like, can I actually do H1 2 times? Because list it was actually supporting concatenation. So now in this case, is it supporting like the concatenation? The same set I'm just going to add, or let me say do another set over here. Let's say another set is I'm having 10, then 30, and then 50 and 60. 10, 30, 50 and 60. Now here you can see H1 and H2. I want to actually concatenate. Guys, remember, this is also not supported. Concatenation is also not supported. This is unsupported operator on set. Concatenation, repetition or replication are not supported. There is something minus operation. Minus operation is known as difference. And we'll go through like now methods and then this operation as well. I'm just saying like now H1 minus H2. This is supported. And this operation is known as difference operation. Let's say 10, 20, 30. What are the common items here? 10 and 30 in both the cases. So the result will be actually 20. The result will be 20. Now look at here. The result is 20. If I say print if I say print H2 minus H1, now in this case, what it is going to do, 10, 30, 50 and 60 is there, H2 minus H1, the common items are actually 10, 30, it is going to return 50 and 60. So it is going to return a set that is known as 50 and 60. So this is like known as difference. So set difference operation we can actually do. So we can use membership operator. Let's say in this case, I can say print. Yeah, let's say S1 is S1. S1 is S1. Then in this case, it is actually going to print as true because S1 is S1. If I say S1 is S2, is both are like now having different IDs. In this case, it is actually going to return as false. So membership operator and identification operators are actually possible. Then apart from those two, you can use like no minus. This is nothing but known as set difference operator. Okay, set difference operator. Now let me write one more program and store it for future reference. Now set difference. Here we go. So this is like now set difference. Now with this, we are actually done with the traversal. We are done with the creation. Now what is next? The next is actually pretty much straightforward. That is known as the methods. Okay, the methods. What are the methods available? So now the first method I'm just going to tell you, that is one of our favorite method, that is length. It is not related to set at all. We can actually use on any variable. Like on a string, it is going to give you the length of the string, how many characters are actually present. Let's say list, it is going to tell you how many elements are actually present. In dictionary, it is going to tell like now how many key value pairs are actually present. Similarly, in set, it is going to tell us how many items are actually present in set. So in our requirement is identify like now how many items present in the set. Then you can, this is not a set method, this is method alien. Okay, so because alien, we have one common alien method, it is also a built-in method. Okay, so in built-in method means it is already there with the system by default. So set where it went, one moment, set empty set while difference, it went somewhere. Set creation, set method. Okay, here we go. Now print the size of set, the size of set is, here I can say len of cn, or size of countries, how many countries are actually present. This is pretty much straightforward, we can actually do this. Let's say you are expecting, you are running a program and then let's say you are taking the country names from the database, MySQL database. Okay, and if you are actually installing installing like now MySQL workbench, there is a table, default table, you can actually see by default, you can install it, like now it will be having all the city names. So you can actually pull all the city names and decided that that is my travel destination list. I want to put it in the set. Then I want to pick 5 items out of it. And your condition should be after the SQL operation, while or you are actually done with the pushing the data to the set, you are checking is my set size more than 5? Then pick 5. In that case, alien method is your solution. Set size. You want to know how many elements are actually present in that set. You can use that using the alien method. Okay, so this is the one of the use case of alien method. And then the next method I'm just going to tell you that is known as set. Okay, that is known as set. Using set method, we can actually define a set. I think we are done with like no set method. We have defined an empty set and then started updating the values, right? So let me skip that method for now. Let me tell you the next method that is known as add. We can add elements. We can add elements to a set. We can update elements to a set. We can copy a set. So the methods, whatever we are actually going to learn to do these operations are straightforward one. Okay, like set. I'm just giving method. I'm just going to add, then update, add, update. I'm just going to tell you what is the difference between add and update. We'll try to understand here. Okay, and just keep on telling like now add it, update it. Let us see like now what is the difference. Let's say I'm adding the country name again. I'm just going to reuse this country names throughout my program. Look at here. I'm just taking it out. This one like now UK and USA. I've just taken it out. Okay, so now see it here. I'm just saying cn dot add, cn dot add, cn of add report. I want to add India. Let us see like now what is going to happen here. And then before I add it, I want to print what is my cn. And after I add it, I want to print what is my value. India is there. And guys, remember, set doesn't allow duplicate items. Set doesn't allow duplicate items. India is already there. I'm trying to add India again. Let us see like now what is going to happen. Now, you can see it here. There is no extra India added over here because set doesn't allow duplicates. We cannot have duplicates in a set. Now, if I'm specifying, let's say here I'm just giving, let's say USA will be actually added. If I'm giving USA is actually added. Now, using add, we can add only one element. We can add only one element. What if you are having like now multiple elements? In that case, what you can do, you can actually use the update method. You can use the update method. Using update method, what we can actually do, we can update multiple items. We can add multiple items to the existing set. Let's say I'm having like cn dot. I'm just giving like update here and specify here like now what is my values. What are my values? I'm just giving my travel destination is Dubai. Okay, and I want to also travel to UK. Okay, now here you can see add is supporting only one element, add only one item. Update will support multiple items. In this case, I'm using like 2 items over here. One is Dubai, one is actually UK. Now, if I'm printing the set value, here you can see the country name value. Now here you can see the USA, Dubai, UK, everything is actually added. But if you look at, we have added USA first, then Dubai and UK was actually updated, right? So now here you can see UK is actually the last but two element or item, then last but one item is USA, then last item is actually Dubai. If I run this program, again there is no control. It will be somewhere in the middle or somewhere we don't know. Earlier it was like all three elements at the last. Now here you can see UK is here, USA in the middle, Dubai is somewhere else. So this is again like add and update we cannot predict. Okay, where system is going to take care of that one. So this is all about like how add works and how update works. If you want to actually know more about this, then you can actually focus. If you're using PyCharm, you can focus on that method. You can see like no one-liner information. Update is set with union of list and other elements, right? Now multiple elements you can actually update it. Now here you can see, let's say for example, add, it will be adding an element to a set. This has no effect if the element is already present. In our case, remember, India was there, then there was no action. That means we cannot actually add duplicate items to the set. So that's all about like uh, add and update. Now I'm going to tell you the method that is known as copy method. New Python file, and here I'm just giving set method copy. Okay, so now let's say I'm having this set. Here we go. And I want to do one thing. Let's say Cn2 equals to Cn. Cn2 equals to Cn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print ID of Cn and ID of Cn2. Now in this case you can see both the IDs are actually same. Both the IDs are actually same because they are actually pointing. If you're using like Cn2 equals to Cn, you are assigning Cn to Cn2. Now if I'm giving like Cn2 dot pub, like pub one item, then I'm just giving print Cn and print Cn2. Now, pub is going to remove one item. Which item? We don't know. Whether it is India, whether it is France, whether it is New Zealand, whether it is Australia, we have no clue. If I'm printing Cn, let us see whether the change is actually uh, going to take effect in both the sets. The answer is yes, it should, because the IDs are actually same. Now here you can see it has removed India. If I do the pop again, any item from like the Cn, it is also going to take the same effect. So this way, it is actually having the same ID. Now, there is another way we can actually copy. Let's say, for example, Cn3 equals to Cn dot copy the Cn to Cn3. This is known as cloning. The ID will be different. Let's say if I'm giving ID of Cn3, the ID is different. If I'm printing here print of Cn3, it will be having the original value. Okay, now let us run the program. Now see it here. The ID was different. Here the IDs are actually same. Cn2 ID is same. Cn3 ID is different. Now this time it has picked sorry popped one of the item. But if you look at the Cn3, there is no change. France was actually popped, but in this case it is France, Australia, New Zealand, and India is present. So whenever the requirement is to return or clone the the items from a given tuple, use copy method. Don't use equal to symbol. All items like which are actually mutable in nature, like I'm just going to tell you, like dictionary, set, list. Please make sure to use the copy method. Don't use equals to unless there is a need. If you are using equals to, the IDs will be same. The modification or deletion or update, whatever you are actually doing, that will take effect in when like now all the elements which are actually having the same IDs. Okay. So now if you are using copy, the IDs are actually different. So that's all about like now the update method. Sorry, that's about all about like the copy method. Now, what is next? The next one we are actually going to learn. So far, let me summarize. We have gone through length, we have gone through add, we have gone through, like copy and update. Copy and update. So the next method we are actually going to learn is there are around 15 to 20 methods. I'll just tell you like what are those. Let's say for example, it is also difficult for us to memorize all the methods like in what is available. Let's say whether you want to actually memorize it by practicing or else there are actually shortcuts available as and when it is needed. You can actually use that. Okay, so now if I want, let's say for example, I don't know like what are the methods available. Just give cn3 dot, you can zip up, update, add, copy, union, intersection. Okay, disjoints is superset, is subset, symmetric difference, semantic difference, update. It is completely different. Okay, remove, then delete, and there are so many things. Now I'm just going to tell you, like let us go one by one. So the next method I'm just going to tell you here is difference. Then we can understand like what is the difference, how the difference is actually going to work and all. Let us go through the example to understand it. Okay. So now let me write the program. Let's write the program. Something went wrong here. Here we go. Now right click, new Python file. Here I'm just giving set method difference. Difference I've already told you, but here instead of using the minus, we can actually use like the difference method itself. Let's say h1. I'm just having like all the numeric values for a better understanding. So you can see like now 1, 2, 3, 4. Then h2 equals to, here I can specify 1 comma, or I can specify 11 comma 2 comma 4 comma then 15. Now here we can specify print h1 minus h2. The common items will be removed. Now in common items is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case 2 and 4 are common items. So the result will be like now 1 and 3. The result will be 1 and 3. We have gone through this one. Now, if you want to do this differently, you can definitely say like h1 dot difference, h1 dot difference, h2, both are same. Both are same. Now look at here. It is saying like no 1 3 1 3. If I'm running this program, it is always giving like no 1 3. Let me add like some other values here. Let's say for example alphabets and all. There is no guarantee that it will be like printing in all the orders like 1 3 always. It can print like combinations 3 1 also it can print. It can also print like if it is like strings, it will print differently. So you cannot actually predict the output. Okay. In case of difference, what it is going to give? The items which are not present in the second set. Let's say h1 and h2 difference. If you're giving, it is going to print like the items which are not present in the second set. What if, let's say I'm having S3 which is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6. In this case, all the elements of S1 is present in S3. Let us say, like if I'm going to give S1 difference S3, then what it is going to do? Now look at here. Now here it is giving like the set. Guys, remember empty set. Empty set was actually printing set method, right? So that's the reason why you are actually getting the output as actual set method. So the output here will be set method. Just remember this. If your set is empty, then it is going to give you the output like this. Okay, so you can actually identify this one. So this is how the difference method works. So the next method is clear. If you want to actually clear anything, let's say for example dictionary, you want to actually clear all the items from a dictionary. The method is dictionary.clear. Here you can actually give, let's say for example, s3.clear. Let me write another program. Let me write another program over here. Let's say S3 I'm just taking, and then Python program, new, or else we can actually do it here. Like this is just a clear, so we can actually do it here. S3.clear, S3.clear, and then print. If I'm giving S3 here, the output will be set. The output will be set because it is empty. The set is empty. Look at here. Okay. So clear is going to clear all the items from the list. Now I told you about difference. Now if you want to actually verify after printing a difference, let's say S1 minus S2, if anything is getting changed in S1 because we are doing the difference, let us verify like now whether it is still intact or it's still not intact. If I'm giving it S1, now sheet here, S1 value is still 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no difference. But in case of difference update, let us see what is going to happen. Like difference update. One method is actually there known as difference update. Let me use like another same sets and write another program. Python new Python file set method difference update, diff update. Okay, and we'll go through the example to understand how it is actually working. Now let me remove this S1 and S2, and here I'm just giving S1 dot difference update of what S2. H1 difference update of H2. Now print, if I do like an H1 and print, if I do H2, let us see what is going to happen. Or before invoking this difference update, now let us do this. Before invoking the H1 difference update, we are printing H1 H2. After difference update, we are printing H1 H2 to check what is the difference here, right? So initially it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 11, 4, and 15. It was as is. Then difference update, what it has done? The common items, what are the common items? 2 and 4. So 2 and 4, it has removed from the original set. So what is the difference between S1 and S2? S1 and S2, the difference is 1 and 3. It is going to return 1 and 3, but it is going to remove the elements or items which are actually present in both the sets. So this is how we can actually specify S1 difference of that S2. If I do one thing, let's say for example, I want to say like now here, right now you can see 1, 3, 2, 11, 4, and 15, right? And I want to do S2 dot difference update of S1. Now look at here. Now S2 items like 2, 11, 4, and 15 are not present in S1. In this case, no change. Now if I do print of S2, there will be like a no change. Why? Because these elements are no longer present in S1. So this is the reason why like S2 that difference of S1 is not going to delete anything. So if you are actually testing your skills in any sorry, it should be difference of that of S2. Now it should actually do the same thing. There'll be like no update. So if you are having a simple and they are having difference update, you should understand whether it is going to remove. The question will be like a multi-choice question, for example, you are appearing, and here you should actually understand common elements will be removed in case of difference. In case of difference update, difference returns the copy like now which elements are actually present in S1 but not in S2. But in case of difference update, it will remove the common elements. That is the difference between difference and difference update. So now that's all about like difference update. Now one more final method we are going to learn today, and then we can actually wind up. The the one I'm going to tell you right now is the discard method. The discard method is actually pretty much straightforward. It is going to discard that item. Now let me put together the element here. Say the set here, like set method discard. It's just like delete, but yeah, we do have like we do have like different methods over here. One is remove and one is discard. Discard and remove, the difference is, let's say for example here, okay. Now I'm just giving s2 dot discard. What I want to discard? I want to discard 11. Now s2 dot discard, I want to discard 100. 100 is not there. Look at here. 100 is not there. It is going to discard 11. But in case of this 100, no error. If the element is not there, it is not going to throw any error. Now print of, if I do S1, the result will be 2, 4, and 15. Here you can see name error S1. It is S2 actually. Okay, S2. I'm using S2 here. It is S2. Okay. So now, if I'm running this program, here you can see 2, 4, and 15. But in case of remove, let's say this is discard method. Okay. Discard is going to discard the item from the set. From a given set, we can actually discard the item. If the item is not present, no error. But in case of remove, it does the same, but it is going to throw error like if the item is not present. Let's say set method remove Python 5. Look at here. Now we are having S2 is this, and instead of discard, I'm just using like my remove. I'm using remove, and here also I'm using remove. Okay, now this will be causing error. Like what error? We'll just experience it. It should be the like not key error basically. Okay, it's not value error, guys. Remember, it is like not going to give you key error. Okay, so now here you can see this is going to give you key error. For example, here key error message. Okay, so don't do this. So the difference between remove and discard is discard blindly. It is going ahead, we'll check if it is there, delete. If it is not there, then it is successful. Silently it is not going to do anything. But in case of remove, if it is not there, then definitely it is going to throw the key error. So with this, we are done for the day, and then we do have like a couple of other methods. I'll just show you like what are things we have covered so far in the method section. We have gone through discard, we have gone through remove, we have gone through clear, difference update, difference, copy, update, pop. I have already gone through, like in the while loop we are actually popping the items. Any item it can actually pop. Okay, so then we do have union, we do have symmetric difference update, we do have symmetric difference, we do have like a couple of other functions. Like how many other functions? Here you can see 8 functions or 8 methods are actually there, and we'll go through these 8 methods in the upcoming session. Thank you everyone, and let us wind up for the day.